Okay, today we're going to do a selection of New Year's cupcakes. I'm going to use squares paste. I'm going to show you how to use the Windsor number click sticks and a little stencil there to decorate your cupcakes. Now you want to start by cutting some black and white circles. I've cut it out of the black and white Mexican paste here. Roll it very finely and then use a small round cutter to just cut out the shape that you need. And then you need to leave them to dry overnight. I've used these Tala cutters because they come in a nice set that allows you to see the size, easy peasy, but obviously there are other cutters available on the market, cookie cutters, etc. that you can use. Now, for the number cutters, with the Windsor click sticks, the other ones that you could use are also the FMM ones, which are a good range to use. Using black Mexican paste here, a little bit of Trex on my hand just to moisten it off, stop it from getting too sticky as I'm kneading it. Once you've kneaded it a little bit so that it's soft, it's then ready to work. Roll it into a ball and then into a sausage. And then using a non-stick rolling pin, and I'm using the cell board here, but you could use any of the non-stick boards. Roll out your paste nice and thinly and evenly. Now the best way with these cutters is to use a little bit of corn flour underneath to stop it sticking back down to the board, and then just a little bit on the top. Now you can see I've just got it on my fingers. I've not got a whole chunk of it because you don't want to colour your paste, just enough to dry off that top surface a little bit of the paste, which helps it come out of the cutter. Now we want 2013 for this year, so we have the 0 on the end here. You can always put a little bit of corn flour and rub it across, but you don't want to put too much, otherwise you're going to clog up your cutter. You can cut your paste if you prefer into sections. I just tend to cut a bit and tear the bit off. And press down on that outer edge. Don't press in the middle because that's where your ejector is and it will emboss your number if you do that. Just around the outer edge, and if you give it a wiggle like that, you know it's not sticking to your board. Once you've done that, lift it and press the ejector to remove the number 0. Cut away the excess paste. And then in this case I can do 3 together because they're all together at this end. So I'm going to put them all on, press down on the outside, again wriggle it, this time remove it, it all came nicely away, and press down to release. It does stick a little bit, just ease it off, and that will give you the 2013. Now I'm working on a black and white theme, so what I've done was cut a few of the black ones out and cut a few of the white ones out. And you need to put them on a board to let them dry overnight. And you know, this is a selection of them, all nicely dry, so you can pick them up and use them. So once your numbers and their circles have dried overnight, we're going to finish the circles by putting a pair of champagne glasses on them. And to do that we need royal icing. You can do it with buttercream, however the problem with buttercream is it doesn't dry hard, so if you do that, you have to be really careful when you're putting them on. But I'm going to use royal icing for this. On the black ones, obviously I've used white royal icing, and the white ones I've used black. In fact, I'll show you how to do the black one, because that way you get the colouring as well. So I've just got the back of a margarine tub or a tile, something like that, just to use the royal icing to paddle it down a bit. The reason I'm doing this is royal icing is usually quite fluffy and you don't want bubbles in it. So get rid of some of those bubbles. It also slightly softens your royal icing. Use a cocktail stick or a clean tool to get your colour out, and that way you don't contaminate your food colour. I'm using licorice black here, and I'm mixing it into my paste. A little bit more in. Don't get icing into your food colour, because that's when your food colours will go off. If you don't contaminate them, your food colours will last for a long time. To get a really good black, you do need to put quite a lot of colour in, but don't overdo it. You want it to a very dark grey, because it will dry darker. There we are. Now you can see how it's much smoother. There isn't any bubbles there. So you're not going to get too many gaps in your royal icing. Your stencil and lay it over your plaque. And take a small amount of the royal icing. Now you really don't need very much, but you need to hold that stencil nice and firmly, and then spread the royal icing over the top without moving the stencil, and just make sure you get all the area of the stencil covered. You can just take a little bit off the top just to stop it from being too messy. But don't move it too much, otherwise you have a tendency to smudge it. Now, put your fingernail under one corner and carefully peel back without moving the stencil. I'm holding it down in this other corner. If you have smudged off the side, you can scrape it off with a knife. And there's your plaque. Complete your cupcakes. I've just spread with a little bit of buttercream first. Pipe a swirl. That one's from the outside in, and I find that gives you a nice peak. And if you pipe from the middle out, it tends to be a flatter surface, which is good for the other style of cupcake. And then what you're going to do, I've got a few magic sparkles here. I've used blue just to give a bit of a contrast, and I'm going to sprinkle some of these on this pointy one. And you can see here, that's the white colour. I've just painted them with a little bit of silver snowflake. All I'm going to do is pop those into that peak. And then the other one, I'm going to take my plaque, let's just find one spot, and pop it on there at a very slight angle. just to give it a bit of lift. And again, a few sort of flakes of glitter around the base. This is completely edible glitter, so you don't have to worry about it. And that just finishes them off. Very quick, very simple.